The icy wind swept through the narrow streets of a quiet American town, rattling diner windows and making the neon signs flicker in their struggle to bring a hint of warmth to the cold night. Outside one of those diners sat a man, hunched against the brick wall. His clothes were torn, his hair unkempt, and his face carried the marks of invisible battles. His legs could no longer carry him, so he moved through life in a worn-out wheelchair. The emptiness in his eyes spoke of countless nights spent under open skies with no roof, no comfort, and no hope. He was the kind of man most people passed without a glance. Someone society had already labeled, judged, and quietly forgotten. But inside that small diner, someone's heart was about to change his story forever. Sparkles, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Stories of Kindness. Your support keeps these true stories of humanity alive. The waitress, Emily, knew hardship better than most. At just 24, life had already weighed heavily on her shoulders. She worked long double shifts, balancing trays of steaming plates with a smile that tried to hide her exhaustion. Behind that smile, however, were worries. Bills piling up on her kitchen counter, and her younger brother's school fees that always seemed impossible to meet. Yet despite her struggles, Emily possessed a quiet strength. A heart that saw beyond dirt and despair, recognizing what others refused to see: the man's humanity. Every evening after her shift ended, she would bring him a hot bowl of soup and a slice of bread. She never asked for his name, and he never offered it. All she knew was that his tired eyes, though clouded by sorrow, softened each time she placed the food before him. As the days passed, whispers began to swirl among the diner's regulars. Some scoffed, saying she was wasting her kindness on someone who didn't deserve it. Others pitied her, convinced the man had made poor choices and brought his misery upon himself. But Emily didn't let their words reach her heart. She remembered the nights when she and her brother had gone to bed hungry, waiting for their mother to come home, only to find she had given up her own meal so her children could eat. Emily understood hunger. She understood despair. And she knew that sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can feel like a miracle. The man outside, though frail, carried an air of mystery. His scars hinted at pain that went far beyond the physical. His silence wasn't pride. It was the quiet of someone who had been hurt too deeply to speak. And though he rarely moved, his presence was felt by everyone who passed. Over time, Emily's daily act of kindness became a bond that needed no words. On snowy nights, she slipped him extra bread wrapped in napkins. During storms, she filled his bowl a little higher than usual, pretending not to notice her manager's disapproving glare. Then, one cold evening, everything changed. The man looked weaker than ever, his hands trembling as he struggled to lift his spoon. Emily hurried to his side, steadying the bowl with gentle hands. For the first time, he met her eyes. Not as a beggar, but as someone burdened by a secret. His voice was hoarse when he finally spoke, and the words that followed left her stunned. He wasn't a beggar. He wasn't even poor. He was a billionaire. At first, Emily thought his mind was lost to delirium. But as he continued, his gaze was steady, his tone calm and certain. He told her about the life he once lived. Towering skyscrapers, luxury cars, and magazine covers calling him one of America's most successful entrepreneurs. But in chasing wealth, he had lost everything that truly mattered. His family, his trust, his peace. Betrayed by those closest to him and broken by greed, he walked away from it all. His scars, he said, were not only from life's hardships, but from the battles fought in boardrooms and within his own soul. Emily listened, her heart pounding. The man she had pitied was someone who had once possessed more riches than she could ever imagine. Yet, what moved her most wasn't his wealth or his fall. It was his gratitude. He told her that in all his years surrounded by people who wanted something from him, no one had ever shown him genuine kindness. Until the day she handed him that simple bowl of soup, expecting nothing in return. From that night on, their story began to ripple beyond the diner walls. The man, slowly regaining strength, started visiting the diner again. Not as the forgotten soul outside, but as a quiet patron inside. Unknown to Emily, he had begun to make plans. Behind his humble appearance, he still possessed vast resources, and he decided that this young woman, who had treated him as human rather than broken, would be the one whose life he would transform. Weeks later, Emily found an envelope slipped under her apartment door. Inside was a letter, and documents that would change her life forever. The man had quietly paid off her debts, arranged her brother's education, and transferred ownership of the diner to her name. She wept that night, not because of the wealth or the relief, but because her simple act of compassion had proven something. She always believed deep down kindness never disappears. It echoes and returns in ways we can never predict. The man vanished soon after, leaving no trace but his legacy of gratitude. Under Emily's care, the diner became a beacon of hope, a place where no one was turned away, no matter their situation. And in every act of generosity, she felt the silent presence of the man who had once been lost, but had reminded her, and the town, that true wealth lies not in money, but in the ability to heal hearts. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Stories of Kindness. These tales of hope and second chances exist to remind us that compassion still changes lives. Before we end, I want to ask you one thing. Would you have shown kindness to the man if you were in Emily's place? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your words might inspire someone to choose compassion today. And so, the story of a waitress and a fallen billionaire reminds us that the greatest treasures aren't found in banks or boardrooms, but in the quiet moments of the heart. Life often proves that appearances deceive. The man the world dismissed as broken had once touched the heights of success. And the woman who served him soup gave him something money never could hope. Emily's small act of kindness became a turning point, transforming despair into purpose. Because in a world quick to judge and slow to care, stories like this remind us what truly makes us human. We all carry burdens, we all have scars, but we also have the power to ease another's pain with even the smallest gesture. A smile, a meal, a kind word. This isn't just a story about a billionaire disguised as a beggar. It's a reminder that kindness can rewrite destinies. Emily gave him food, but more importantly, she gave him dignity. And in return, she discovered that one small act of compassion can brighten a future beyond imagination. So, never underestimate the power of kindness. What feels small to you might mean everything to someone else. Carry that thought with you. And when you see someone in need, remember, compassion costs nothing, but it can change everything.